Hi everyone, welcome to the Cause and Effect panel, How Social Causes Can Buff Your Brand. My name is Aureen, you're watching the Esports Business Summit, and welcome. I will now introduce all our esteemed panelists who have taken the time today to speak on today's show. So why don't we go down the list, starting with Gregory Haynes. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Greg Haynes, lead games user researcher at the 𝗘𝗀𝗽 charity. I'm known for not following my own directions and working within the space to help people with disabilities play games.
Hi all, I am Lindsay Moreau, Assistant Director of Partnerships at the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, and we are fully dedicated to supporting breast cancer research.
Hey everyone, my name is Zach Weigel. I'm the founder of Gamers Outreach, and we're a charity organization that helps bring entertainment into hospitals through video games.
Hi everyone, I'm Christy St. Martin. I'm the CEO of Gamers.Vote. We're a nonpartisan nonprofit organization that encourages and supports the active participation around voting. So we're a coalition of various organizations unifying voting as a priority.
Hi everybody, I'm Zachary Witten and I run St. Jude Play Live, which is the video game charity that supports St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Awesome, and I'm Zoreen T. I'm the marketing director at Player2, an esports agency that works with different brands and organizations in the space. All right, so I think what we'll do now is just kind of give everyone a chance to talk about their nonprofit and, go into the specifics of the work that they do and how it relates to gaming and how they've been activating in the gaming space specifically. So we'll start off with Greg Haynes, who is going to tell us about the wonderful 𝗘𝗀𝗽 charity. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks. So the 𝗘𝗀𝗽 charity works to enable play to combat social isolation, foster inclusive communities, and improve the quality of life for people with disabilities. Especially now in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, I think we can all relate to the aspect of social isolation. And now more than ever, I think we're all understanding the importance of things like video games, entertainment that can sort of take us out of the experience and the doldrums of our daily lives. So 𝗘𝗀𝗽 essentially does our mission. We do our mission in multiple ways. Our main primary outcome is to work individually, one-on-one with players with disabilities to help them navigate the vast amount of controller solutions that might be out there, to help them find something that works perfectly for their disability and with their disability so that they can game in a way that's comfortable for them. Part of that system is working with our engineering team to sometimes create controller solutions that are unique to their experience and to their disability so that they can play in a way that's best for them. We also go into hospitals. We create game rooms full of assistive tech and new technology so that people in care settings can have moments where they can sort of get away from the scariness and sort of stress that may come with living in that environment or being in that environment. We also engage in player research. That's sort of my forte. We essentially want to work within the gaming industry to see what players with disabilities need, see what type of options they want to use in games, and articulate that to the larger gaming industry so that game developers can essentially begin developing more accessible games so that we can welcome the more than 46 million people with disabilities just in the United States alone into the gaming community. And part of that is also training professionals in the space in accessible game design so that they can apply that in their games going forward and hopefully create a more accessible future from now going forward. But I guess I could jump into some of our favorite activations. I think we're technically supposed to pick one, but I'm, full disclosure, I cheated here. So I guess we're going to be talking about a couple activations that I think highlight the sort of variation in our mission. So starting off on the left here, you might see a picture of Ryan Reynolds saying, "Wow." That was a really, really cool opportunity where Steve Spohn, our COO, was able to interact and make friends with Ryan Reynolds, who then shouted out our charity, and it kicked off a fundraising initiative that was, able to bring in $75,000. And the cool, unique thing about that is it's not just about the person who's shouting us out and co-signing us. sometimes about their friends too. So, you know, we had the founders of Shopify come in and support us with, you know, $25,000 in addition, you know, to what everyone else was raising. And it was just an awesome opportunity where one person was willing to put our mission forward to the community and attract so many other people. We have in the middle there, Steve Spohn, along with Craig Kaufman, our director of community, at a Pittsburgh Penguins event called Steel City Showdown. That's a tongue twister, so I have to make sure I enunciate that one. And essentially, that was a bunch of tournaments around NHL, NBA 2K, and Super Smash Brothers, all towards fundraising for the Able Gamers mission, alongside the Pittsburgh Penguins and also the Cleveland Cavaliers. Essentially, the NBA and NHL wanted to dedicate time to our mission, and we were able to do something really cool around this tournament to get our mission out there. We also did something with Game Fuel and Mountain Dew, where essentially it was a bunch of streamers getting together to fundraise for our mission over the course of about 12 hours, I think, maybe even more. It's just marathons of stream team just going back and forth, streaming different games to raise support and awareness for our mission. And then lastly, this is a picture of the after effects of our training over 2 days, game developers from Blizzard Activision in accessible game design. So we created a tool called the Accessible Player Experience. And the APX tool, essentially something that is really being used a lot in the game industry. And Blizzard Activision is one of the teams that came forward to say, hey, we want to, you know, experience this 2 days of training. So we took a screenshot after we wrapped up training, and it was an awesome experience. But I think these different activations sort of go into the different aspects of our mission and sort of how we are able to engage with the community, from, you know, having a celebrity speak on our behalf, to training game developers in our arena, to working with other organizations and companies to put together events centered around gaming.
Thank you, Greg. That's amazing, and really amazing to see also the widespread impact of your mission as well. That's really cool.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be a part of the team.
Okay, and moving on to the next slide. Let me see, there's a bit of a delay here. We have BCRF. Lindsay, please tell us about the Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
Thanks, Maureen. Yeah, so the Breast Cancer Research Foundation is dedicated to ending breast cancer by advancing the world's most promising research. We were founded in 1993 to specifically address the need for additional private research funding for breast cancer, and our mission hasn't changed since then. So we call ourselves small but mighty. We have just one office in New York, though we're all remote at the moment. We don't have any chapters, we don't do walks or runs, and instead focus purely on directing as much funding as possible to the best and brightest minds in science around the world. We currently fund about 275 investigators across 14 countries who are attacking this disease from every angle. In fact, BCRF-funded investigators have been involved in every major breakthrough in breast cancer prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and survivorship. We're proud to say that BCRF is the highest rated breast cancer organization in the US and the largest private funder of breast cancer research and metastatic breast cancer research in the world. So just a real quick on why this cause is important. Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women worldwide, with an expected 2 million new cases every year. In fact, every 15 seconds somewhere in the world, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer. And here in the US, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed in their lifetime alone. So we have seen some progress. There's been a 40% decline in breast cancer deaths over the past 25 years, which is something to truly celebrate, but we still lose far too many to this disease. So 42,000 will die from metastatic breast cancer this year alone. And it's only through research that we can improve treatment options and end breast cancer as a life-threatening disease. So BCRF tackles this by convening the best minds in science and giving them opportunity to collaborate with each other and pursue their most innovative ideas. And yeah, I think we're excited to kind of walk through a few of things that we've done in the gaming space. At BCRF, our gaming efforts live in our partnerships department. So BCRF has over 100 corporate brands that drive approximately 40% of our annual revenue. And over the past few years, we've been building out more and more partnerships within the gaming industry. Just to kick us off, I have to give a nod to our first really big activation in gaming, and that was the 𝗘𝘀𝗽 campaign. This program ran for just 2 weeks in 2018. We worked with Blizzard on their Overwatch game with a skin for Mercy, and it really blew us away in terms of how much money was raised for BCRF. And the program really opened up our understanding of the industry and how BCRF could activate. So from there, we took some time to really explore the gaming ecosystem and start building relationships with esports teams and streamers, publishers, peripheral brands, while also looking for opportunities where we could bring in our existing corporate partners into the space too. So earlier this year, we designed an activation during BCRF's annual Corporate Partner Summit, which is an event we hold for our partner contacts every year. A quick disclaimer, this year's summit was held in January, so it was a few weeks before we saw the reality of COVID-19 set in, and the last in-person thing we got to do. But ahead of our summit, we set up a 2-week charity stream marathon event with 𝗘𝘀𝗽, an all-female Twitch broadcasting group, which would kick off on the day of our summit and close 2 weeks later on World Cancer Day. And we worked with Kitty Plays to sync up our calendars to feature her live stream during the summit. And we brought in a friend from Twitch to join us and walk our attendees through the platform and the user experience. And by featuring this live during the summit, we could provide our brands with a real-time introduction to the space while showcasing an authentic and meaningful way to participate. And we had tapped a few of our existing partners to provide product giveaways, which helped to showcase how brands could participate in future BCRF charity streams. So in the end, this activation with 𝗘𝘀𝗽 introduced BCRF to 14 new streamers who were passionate about BCRF's mission. We raised money for critical breast cancer research and really launched our work in bringing together partners across different industries to collaborate in support of the BCRF cause. And since then, we brought 𝗘𝘀𝗽 together with pop sockets to create 𝗘𝘀𝗽 designed pop sockets that donate to BCRF with every purchase. We just held a tournament with Game Set Match where we brought in our partner 𝗘𝗀𝗽 as a sponsor to help match donations made during the tournament. And we're just about to drop a collaboration with the esports team UIU and our partner 𝗖𝘆HICE on custom design slides, which look amazing. And we're hosting 2 charity streams with influencers in the coming weeks where Clinique, who's been a partner of ours since our very, very early days, will be matching donations. And a few more things coming down the pipeline that we hope to announce soon. So this is definitely a big month for us, being October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're excited to have the opportunity to really activate within this space and get as many streamers and teams and supporters together in support of our cause.
That's amazing. Thank you, Lindsay. And I know that 𝗘𝘀𝗽 skin is still very coveted amongst people who play Overwatch. So amazing job there. All right. Thank you. Gamers Outreach, please take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Serene. Hey, everyone. Zach here from Gamers Outreach. We're a group of people who believe the world is better when kids have access to play. And we're specifically focused on making that possible in hospitals. So our organization goes into healthcare facilities, and really our whole purpose is to try to help make play as easy to prioritize as research and treatment. So what we've realized over the last decade is that oftentimes in hospital environments, there are a lot of people who are super great at providing care to kids, but are often positions where it can be difficult to provide kids with access to bedside activities, especially if they've had a really major surgery and can't leave their rooms. And that's where Gamers Outreach comes into play. We've noticed that video games have incredible potential to be a source of relief for kids during their time in hospitals. They can be an outlet for kids to socialize with friends outside the walls of the hospital. And sometimes they're just a way for families to reconnect during a really stressful time. So in order for hospitals to provide those experiences, we're focused on making video games available and easy to manage in hospitals. Right now, we do that through 2 different programs. We have an initiative called Project Go-Kart, which you can see in this picture here. There's actually a kiosk right next to that child's bed. And those are portable video game carts that basically help make video games mobile, secure, and easy to manage in hospitals. So if you've had a really big surgery, if you're stuck in bed for a long period of time, you can't leave your room, nurses can take this device, they wheel it room to room for patients and give kids access to video games when they otherwise might not be able to do much of anything. So we have these carts in over 200 hospitals, primarily in North America, and we estimate they are supporting somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million play sessions each year across all those places. So that's pretty amazing, and we're super amped to be able to help create that impact each year. We also have another initiative called Player 2, which, funny enough, is also sort of in that photo, where we invite gamers to volunteer in hospitals. So they'll play video games with kids, they solve minor tech support issues, and generally just help ensure content is available and easy to manage so that staff can focus on doing their jobs, providing kids with care. So we're super excited. Zareen, if you want to go to the next slide. Those are our two primary initiatives, and we've got a few things in the works right now. We're hoping to launch a couple other initiatives next year that also, I think, solve a lot of challenges in hospitals, and we're testing them right now. In terms of impact and fundraising, our organization actually has roots in the esports space. So almost, I guess it was 13 years ago now, I started the organization as a high school student. At the time, I was really interested in organizing video game tournaments in my own local community for fellow high school kids. And this was during a period of time before esports was really a buzzword. Tournaments were barely a thing. The events that were happening, were sort of few and far between, kind of hard to find out about. Anyway, I started getting involved in hosting tournaments, and those events ended up becoming charity fundraisers and now support the work we do in hospitals as a larger, more broad organization. But because of those roots, it just so happens that we tend to do a lot of work with esports personalities and teams in the space. It's really kind of the culture we have here at Gamers Outreach and where we came from. And one of those teams we've had the chance to work with a little bit is 𝗠𝗿𝗄. I thought this example would be relevant for the Esports Business Summit. I know that they're a part of this. And actually, as of this recording, 𝗠𝗿𝗄 is going to be actually doing a 24-hour marathon this evening. And it's part of an incentive that was unlocked during a charity broadcast. About a year ago, him and the team at 𝗠𝗿𝗄 were able to raise just over $100,000 just by reaching out to their community. And what was cool about this is that not only was it a really impactful moment for them to express their values as a brand and as a team and just rally their community around something good, they also were able to involve one of their existing sponsors, Totino's, who actually helped provide some prizing and incentives during the broadcast. So it ended up being a win for everybody. They raised a bunch of money in support of our cause. It was a great way for them to bring their brand values to life. And then, of course, it was an opportunity for them to activate their partnership with Totino. So all those things came together to produce the following slide. Zareen, if you don't mind. This is a photo from Children's Hospital Los Angeles. It's one of many deliveries that we were able to make thanks to the fundraiser produced by 𝗠𝗿𝗄. These are a bunch of healthcare workers who took a little bit of time just recently to make a very nice thank you photo for the team who was involved. And we were able to share this on Twitter and generate quite a bit of goodwill and buzz from the delivery. So not only was it something that the 𝗠𝗿𝗄 team, created a bunch of discussion and donations and goodwill around, but then we were able to follow up as well with their community and prove the donation afterwards. So super exciting. These are my favorite photos to get for the work we do at Gamers Outreach, and it was really great to share this with the world. So that's a little bit about Gamers Outreach and just one of a handful of examples of how we've been activating with esports organizations.
Wow, that's heartwarming. Thank you, Zach, and thank you for all the work that you do at Gamers Outreach. All right, Gamers Vote. Christy, please tell us about this.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm still smiling from Gamers Outreach. So yes, we're a positive branding initiative about influencing gamers to vote, not for any individual, not for a party, just to enact their rights, to make their voices heard. And we hope that our brand is merely seen as like a unifying icon in a way which a multitude of activities and positive calls to action are actually endorsed. right? We just want to make voting a priority, be able to register to vote, and then to go vote. And so with that, basically since July, and I don't know if you guys have seen stuff, but we've been very busy. We've had partner activities ranging from individual streams to tentpole events to additive to existing events in ways that were meaningful, and brand integrations, basically all united under the Gamers Vote banner, encouraging participation to register and to go vote. And so with that, we've worked in a lot of really meaningful messaging, thanks to our awesome nonprofits that are with us as well, around like mail-in voting. Right now, we're working on all our initiatives around early voting day in October. And so with that, we have a series of different events, and whether it's absentee ballot or how to squad up and vote with your group and go show up in person, and what do you need when you walk out the door to make sure you have everything and not stuck in a lineup when realizing you have to go back home. That's what we're working on right now. And so we have a couple different ways to get involved. And so we made it really easy. It's crazy times in 2020. I think we're all very aware of that. And so to be a partner, it is as little as social support. If you want to go to the next slide, we're just talking about little things you can do. So it can be as simple as supporting the initiative online within your own community, finding ways to integrate in maybe an existing event that you have. We can provide so many different messaging packages and things that might make sense. We can align partners. The first 4 months of my life was deck after deck trying to inspire people to find ways to get involved. And then pretty much since the end of July, it's just been connecting partners to make really incredible events even more incredible. 𝗘𝘀𝗽 is a great example of that. I think they've incorporated giveaways of headsets into every single event and activation or stream that we've had ongoing, and continue to do so all the way until November 3rd, which has been wonderful. But yeah, so I love what we do because we get to connect everybody into the space in a meaningful way. It's just been a delight. If you go to the next one, I'll talk a little bit about some of my favorite activations, and there's too many. So I'll give a couple different unique examples. One was FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan ongoing has been wonderful partners. They started off with having every single one of their members in their organization, from leadership to talent to management, register to go vote. So they did that collectively as a group. They have basically inserted various different talent members into a variety of our different events that are ongoing, and one that is on October 23rd that I'm most excited about. That also, by the way, incorporates Gamers Outreach. They're going to have a team participating in a $40,000 charity brawl tournament. This is my heart and soul has been poured into this event, which is on October 23rd with our partners at MTV. It's going to be a really, really fun stream. This is where I feel most at home, is the idea that we get to pull all of our amazing, we have Champion Clothing, bringing some support. They did Gamers Vote merch that they're going to give out as giveaways. We have 𝗘𝘀𝗽 headsets to pull into this, and Alt Clothing made Gamers.Vote gear, which is being sent to all of the talent that are participating, as well as giveaways throughout the stream. And MTV, we're working with their partner, Vote for Your Life, as far as messaging goes, and it's been a real delight. It's actually being produced by Venn. So just being able to, again, be the connector and make sure that our messaging hits in ways that all these distinct communities in the gaming space can actually make a difference. From tabletop communities to mobile developers. We have a mobile developer that actually has been sending out messages since July to 30 million users twice a month, sending them directly to vote.gov so they could get registered to vote. So yeah, it's been a delight. Thank you guys for giving me a time to chat about it.
Thank you, Christy. And I certainly think that's very, very topical as well in today's climate. So thank you for the work. Oh, sorry, just gonna, all right, here we go. St. Jude, Zach Whitten, please. I'm sure most of us are familiar with St. Jude in the space, but please.
I would hope so. That'd be fantastic. But for those that aren't aware, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital has been around since the early 60s. We opened in 1962. When we opened our doors, the overall pediatric cancer survival rate was just 20%. And in the last 50 years, we've been able to push that for more than 80%. And for the worst type of cancer, when we opened the doors, the survival rate was only 4%. And we've been able to get that cancer all the way up to a 94% survival rate at our hospital. We take the hardest to cure cases of pediatric cancer and illness from around the world. We bring them to our hospital, and we do everything possible to make sure that those kids go home healthy and happy. And for my part in that, I find amazing people on the internet, and I help them to tell our story to their audiences through amazing events, both in the gaming space and the content creator space, and on every single major media platform that's out there. We really do a lot of stuff that's awesome in the gaming space. We empower creators to use their channel for good. But one of the coolest things that I want to call out is GCX, which is the next slide. So GCX, formerly GuardianCon, is a 12,000 person gathering that we do down in Florida, Central Florida, every single year. Unfortunately, this year we weren't able to do it. We had to cancel the event. Well, postpone, I should say technically, because we're coming back hard and heavy next year, COVID allowing. But normally this is a gathering of people that are really into community-oriented gaming. They come together. We have sponsors that come in, people like Bungie, Microsoft, 2K. We come together and we do a weekend of gaming and celebration of some charity fundraising. This event has raised more than $12 million in the last 4 years. And this last year, we thought that we were going to kind of have a really bad time of it because we had to cancel the event. But sure enough, the gaming community came together and we raised more than $3.6 million last summer off of an event that was basically had to be postponed because of COVID, but the community still came together and they still did an amazing thing for some really, really sick kids.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Zach, and thank you everyone for telling us about, your organizations and the respective work that you do there. I think we'll go into a few general topics now about the space and how it's engaging with the gaming audience right now. So, just throwing a general question to the panel, I think, we should discuss what each of us thinks, makes a charity activation really work. Like what makes it successful? What helps drive that success?
I could jump in here, just start things off. I think it's not an overstatement to say from each and every one of these organizations, it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of collaboration, a lot of patience with everybody on the team. On the charities team, and then if they're partnering with other organizations or other individuals who are joining in an activation, it takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of patience. As Christy, implied with the event she's organizing, you genuinely do pour your heart and soul into these events, and it's tiring and it's exhausting. But then, honestly, you keep the mission at heart. You keep the reasons why you're doing these things at heart, whether it's for kids in a hospital setting like Zach, both Zachs in that sense, or people with disabilities, or voting, or women who are hit tremendously with breast cancer in just an unfathomable way, in 2020, when we think about the medical impact of things like that, and the gaming community coming together to really solve all these barriers to having all of our missions come to pass in different ways. It really and truly, it takes that patience and that commitment, and also it takes the gaming community. You can't do it without the people that are coming together to do that.
Thank you, Greg.
I kind of want to
Zach?
I want to shout out the BCRF activation with Blizzard for Overwatch. If you're looking for an activation that I think was brilliant from both an audience and a marketing and cause mashup, that was the perfect triangle. You had a game in Overwatch that was brand new and hot, and also was over-indexing strong toward women. In esports, women are not normally a large segment of the audience. In Overwatch, they were way over-indexing toward women for that game. And Blizzard said, we want to do something to engage and celebrate that audience, and this is how we're going to do it. And then the activation itself was just fantastic. It's a gorgeous skin. The marketing was brilliant. Like, it's one of those activations where you look at it and go, like, this is everything put together. Like, if you want to look at a perfect activation, that's it. It engaged the audience, it used the game right, and it had a great result with the amount of money that they raised for the cause.
I mean, thank you, Zach. You said a lot of it. I think it really is, you know, the perfect case study for how two entities can come together to make something really magical happen. I think what really also worked with that is that Blizzard came with our mission in mind, and they picked Mercy because of her backstory, right? Like, she was a scientist, she was a researcher, she was a doctor. So there was a lot of authenticity behind it, and the story was there. And I think that, you know, beyond just that campaign, that to me is what can really make a charity activation work, is if these two partners work together to collaborate on creating an authentic and meaningful story, because that's what engages the streamers, it engages people to donate, it engages people to want to talk about it. So I really think that, you know, allowing the mission to come forward and for the brands and participating companies to come in and explain why that mission matters to them can really elevate an entire activation and just make it come to the surface in a really massive way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll chime in and just build a little bit on what Zach and Lindsay said. You know, I think authenticity is so important in the video game community. And I think you could even break down this question a few different ways. There's how effective is the activation in terms of, you know, making an impact, and that's really going to be something that the charity organization is, you know, primarily their concern. And then there's another aspect of this from the brand standpoint, which is, you know, does this communicate our brand or game values in a way that is meaningful and true to what we believe in and stand for? And so I think the example, Zach really said it well, and Lindsay did as well, that this Overwatch character had this backstory. It was very sensible. And then also too, Blizzard did a great job of making it easy for people to get involved and making it easy. I'm guessing, Lindsay, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm guessing it was relatively easy on the charity's part. I think I mentioned this on another panel, funny enough, Lindsay and I were on, but, you know, sometimes I find we'll interact with brands that come to us and don't have a clear idea of how they want to integrate the charity component into what they do. And my recommendation is if you can integrate the activation in a way that is already sort of in your existing ecosystem, it's super easy for charities to plug in and be a part of, like a fundraiser, like this Mercy Skin example. It can be a little difficult if you're looking to us to be the ones to activate as like an agency. So sometimes we have brands that come forward and they sort of like look to us to do all the work. And the tough position there as a charity is like, normally we're raising money to work on our programs as opposed to investing in like content that we can give back to the brand to like help them explain what they just did. So I think if you're a brand looking to get involved in these sorts of activations, you really want to take it upon yourself to think about it like a marketing campaign. You know, if you were to go out and create video content and then activate this campaign and spread it to your community, it's really all those same things but we as the charity are really just the ones providing you the content and the story. And then of course the impact to share with your community. So that's just something that I've noticed. I'd be curious, Zach, at St. Jude, if you guys kind of have that similar view, but at Gamers Outreach, it's kind of hard for us to sometimes balance those requests that come in. People who are well-intentioned, but it can be hard for us to like go back and forth if we're a small team. But I've just noticed that's really helpful when brands do that.
It can also be difficult from a charity standpoint when a brand comes in that doesn't have the same sort of content that is right for the audience that a charity works with. So it can be difficult, especially when the majority of AAA titles released in this modern age are all M-rated titles. That can be difficult for a lot of causes to work with. Especially like when the biggest esport in the world like is a T or M-rated game, like that becomes difficult for brands to work with. And there needs to be considerations given there about like if a brand wants to work with a cause, that's fantastic. But let's have a conversation about the best way to place both charitable assets in terms of like brand and like imagery with next to game assets, because like we once had a situation where an M-rated title wanted to do a really great activation for us, but I can't have you chainsawing off a dude's head right next to a picture of a sick kid. It's not how things work. We just need to find the right balance there for brands to work with to get that content just right.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what you're both saying, both Zachs, I feel like everything I say is a reference to both of you. You know, it is important, I think, to speak to the charity and the things that might be sensitive to that organization. You know, for example, you know, there have been events where, you know, the language that's used could potentially be offensive to people with disabilities, let's say. So we want to make sure that the language and the culture that we're establishing around the activation is appropriate. And with that in mind, you certainly want to, you know, speak to the organization and say, okay, is this something that would be appropriate, as opposed to, you know, walking in and saying, this is our idea, this is what we want to do. You know, it's all or nothing. Be amenable to work with the organization to see what they're comfortable with, and subsequently their community would be comfortable with.
And a flip side to that, given that most people would assume that elections are fairly polarizing, we have had plenty of internal champions that have done things that haven't been in the public capacity that have been incredibly impactful to their own workforce, right? So I think, like, in line with finding something that really fits, not just for the organization, the nonprofit that you're working with, but also a way that makes sense to your organization. So we've been able to be flexible either way, but totally 100% be sensitive to who you're coming to with content.
Yes, I think that's a great point, and, you know, relevant to a lot of brands who are looking to get into the space, and, you know, work with charities to support their activations as well during, you know, such a tumultuous time. I think we are coming up a little bit on the time limit that we have today, unfortunately. Time just flies in these panels. But I just want to, you know, if for each of you to talk about, you know, if people want to know more about your nonprofit organizations, where they can find more information. So why don't we start with Zach from Gamers Outreach.
Sure. If anyone wants to learn more, you can check us out on the web, gamersoutreach.org, or Twitter as well, @gamersoutreach.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for St. You Play Live stuff, we are at St. You Play Live on Twitter, or playlive.styu.org on the web. And we've got a big creative activation coming up for Twitch and YouTube broadcasters in the holiday season.
If you want to check up on Able Gamers and what we're up to, you can visit ablegamers.org. You can follow us on Twitter @AbleGamers. Basically, search Able Gamers in Google and you'll find everywhere that we're at. If you're a developer or you're a player with disabilities interested in some of the resources we have available, be sure to visit ablegamers.org. For developers, visit accessible.games, where we have many free resources, including access to our 600 player research pool that has people with disabilities who are trying to contribute to making games more accessible, and developers. These players are open to playtesting and giving feedback about your games. We just ask that they're compensated for their time. So please check that out.
Hi, if you want to go check out gamers.vote, go to gamers.vote. It's that easy, and I'll save you time. I won't even tell you where we are on social. You can find out from there. They'll take you there.
And if you're looking for more about the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, you can find us at bcrf.org. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at bcrfcure. And if you're looking specifically for information on gaming, you can go to bcrf.org/gaming.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for your time and insights today. Really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best of luck.